Hello my friend, ever wonder why your mixes sound cluttered even after EQ? Let me show you a secret pro trick that will elevate your tracks to the next level. So let's talk about a dynamic EQ and how it differs from a static EQ. Essentially, a dynamic EQ will react to the changes in volume of a certain frequency depending on how you've set up your dynamic EQ. And depending on how you set it up and your threshold settings, it will either cut or boost at that frequency as required. This can be very useful when controlling the harshness in a vocal compared to a static EQ, because the harshness is going to fluctuate as to the performance and the position on the microphone. There's a whole bunch of parameters, which means that harshness is going to be different throughout the whole take. So using a dynamic EQ is going to work with that vocal, delivering you an overall smoother sound. It can also be great for taming muddy low frequencies in bass heavy tracks, or used as a sidechain to clean up overlapping frequencies with the kick and the bass. We're going to take a look at all of that in today's video, so let's dive straight in. So let's start things off by taking a look at a harsh vocal. I'm going to be using F6 from Waves. You could of course be using Fab Filter or TDR Nova. That's a great free alternative. So let's just take a listen to this vocal performance here. So we're going to start off with more of a sort of whispery sound. Won't you stay? And that's going to lead us into a chorus where the vocal opens out. 'Cause I shiver. And the on shiver is a bit ear gnawing. Then we're back into a more of a breathy sound again. Without you and every word you wrote. On every word you wrote, and then the next line we're back into more of a fuller voice. Stolen stars on stolen stars. We've got that harshness. Now using a spectrum analyzer may help you distinguish where exactly that harsh frequency is. Stay, 'cause I shiver without you. But certainly I would recommend familiarising yourself with the EQ bands of a vocal. I've got a free vocal EQ cheat sheet that's going to really help you to do that. And that's going to save you fishing around with boosts too much, which you will find makes everything sound horrible no matter what boost you're creating. So let's just fish around that 2 to 5k area to see if we can establish where that harshness is at its worst. Won't you stay? 'Cause I shiver without you. And every word you wrote, stole the stars around there, I think. It's around 3k, and I kind of knew that already because I've played around with this track in some other videos. So I'm just going to take my band 5 down here on my dynamic EQ. So first off, I'm going to set the range. I can either choose to boost that frequency. I absolutely don't want to be doing that. I want to be cutting that frequency. So I'm going to cut a fair chunk of it out at the moment with the range, and now play around with the threshold. You. And every word you wrote, stole the stars I hung around you, or watched them fall around. Now because I don't want to be too destructive to the overall tone, I can also play around with the Q, from either doing a very surgical cut to having a wider band. But I want to be relatively surgical because I still want to maintain the overall tone of the vocal, not strip too much out. 1,000 flames in the hope the one remained. So now we've set the range and the threshold and the Q. When we play back our vocal, we should see that the dynamic EQ is pretty much leaving alone the whispery parts or doing a little bit of ducking, but in those problematic areas where it sounds especially harsh, it's doing a lot more gain reduction. So let's just take a listen. Won't you stay? 'Cause I shiver without you. And every word you wrote, stole the stars I hung around you. Won't you stay? 'Cause I shiver without you. And every word you wrote, stole the stars I hung around you. So here's another example in a mix. This time I want to clear out some unnecessary muddiness from a church organ kind of sound. Now when I play it through this spectrum analyzer, keep an eye around that sort of boomy, roomy, muddy frequency. I'm looking at about 400 to 500 hertz. Now on the first riff you're going to see quite a lot of activity around this area. And then on this next line, a lot less. So I'm going to bring in F6 again. So this time I've dialed my dynamic EQ to around 400 hertz. Let's take a listen to what that's doing. So as you can see, a lot of reduction around the area for the first half of the riff, whereas the second half of the riff is pretty much leaving it completely alone. Listening back to the whole mix, this may well sound like a small thing, but muddiness and boominess builds up track on track. So this is a great way to employ your dynamic EQ. Let's take a listen. Stuck in a bowl, dream of 78, cut like gas in the sun. Next, we're going to use the kick signal to duck the bass frequencies dynamically. This is going to help to preserve both elements' power without causing muddiness. So once again, I've got F6 from Waves. I've dropped it onto my bass track, but this time I've selected sidechain and I'm routing that to the kick. In this particular plugin then, I've set the sidechain source to external, and that's sending off to my kick. Now you'll see when I play the two tracks, you can see that the ducking over here on the second node is happening at 100 Hertz and is triggering every time the kick occurs. So it takes a little bit of playing around with the attack and release knobs just to make sure that that reduction goes in and goes out and ducks smoothly and quickly and efficiently. But now we've got that set up, we're dynamically ducking out 100 Hertz from our bass so that our kick kicks through. Let's take a listen. So, dynamic EQ, definitely your best friend for creating balanced and natural mixes. Whether it's taming harshness, controlling muddiness, or fixing frequency clashes, it's a great one to have up your sleeve. Try it out and let me know how you get on in the comments box below. Whilst you're down there, don't forget to grab your free EQ cheat sheet. You also find a link down there to my free Pro Mix Method mixing course. The course will teach you everything you need to know to create a professional and solid foundation in your mixes, all from the comfort from your home studio. If you enjoyed this video today, also please don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you did like this one, you definitely want to check this next video out.